This is a very interesting looking wood. It has a grain pattern that has really high contrast with very dark grain and a very light wood. This will be the back of the guitar, which is going to look great. The top will be a stone top. Take a look at the sides. Even the side of the wood has that very interesting high contrast grain pattern. So the side of the guitar is going to look killer. Most of the time, the sides of guitars are quite boring. This one's going to look nice. It's going to have a really pretty back and a really pretty side, and the top will be stone. So next steps is just to cut this in half and then figure out how we're going to joint it. So this is jointed up already, and I just need to get rid of the glue residue. All I do to clean it up is use these razor blades. I don't use card scrapers because card scrapers need to be sharpened. You have to put a burr on them, and that takes too much time. I buy these brand new razor blades. They cost nothing, and they have a super sharp burr on them already. I don't even add a burr. I just use them as is. And I just keep doing this until basically I get all the white stuff, which is glue, and I start only seeing wood. So these are disposable, and I'll use them, once, twice. So this is the fun part of the build, right? Where we get to kind of choose our top, or at least the location of how this is going to look, in trying to identify the best parts of this veneer, where we can expose as much texture of the stone as possible without interfering with things like where the bridge is going to be placed. And I think I landed on this. And I like this a lot because it's going to have this mountain range section going all the way through it here, the upper part of the telly, and then even in the back. And then over here, there's some texture for the horn, and then there's going to be some texture here. So I think if this is the spot we want, and here's the single coil bridge pickup, this should be okay. Yeah, that lands pretty flat. So the only thing I was worried about was having the bridge land on one of the high spots where it would be like teetering. But this is fairly flat. So if you have all 4 screws set in, it's not going to go anywhere. And then you'd have this kind of plain, boring part here. But that's okay because your control panel is going to be there. And you have a little plain section here, but that's okay because your single coil neck pickup is going to be there. So it has the texture in the spots where you can actually enjoy it and it doesn't get in the way. Because clearly you don't want to have the really nice texture somewhere here where the control cavity is just going to cover it up. So I think this is the good spot. I think this is what I'm going to choose. So what we're going to do is just cut a square out. And that'll be our blank that we glue on. So I just took this out of the vacuum bag. I glue all my tops with a vacuum bag. It's the easiest method to do it. And I set it, forget it. I let it cure overnight. It's now out. And everything is just on there perfectly. This is ready to go back onto the CNC table now. So the operations we're going to do next are going to be the neck pickup, the bridge pickup, and the neck pocket. So these tool paths are complete. I did the neck pickup first, then the bridge pickup, and then I did the neck pocket. And you can see that when the neck pocket operation is complete, it reveals the actual screw holes that I did from the back when this was flipped. And it also revealed all the wire channels. So basically a little channel that goes this way, and then one that goes this way to the control cavity, and they're all exposed now, which is really great. It just means I don't have to go in there with a really long drill bit and come in from the neck pocket, put a hole here, and then hope that it doesn't travel down or up. This is just a more efficient way to do it. I think if you're doing any type of top, just take a moment and build the wire channel this way and that way, and then put your top on. It's just so much easier and more efficient that way too. So the next thing we're gonna do is the control cavity, and this is a really deep pocket, and it's kind of a boring operation, so I definitely won't show it. And then maybe tomorrow, we'll do the contour and just go all the way around, which is also a pretty lengthy operation. So the stone telly is done. This is exactly the way I envisioned it. I wanted the best portion of the stone veneer to move through the telly right up here. This is the part where it's okay for us to have a lot of thick texture. We didn't want to have a lot of texture here because of the huge cavity cutout, and we didn't want to have a whole lot here where the bridge plate's going to go. But right here, it's perfect, especially along the back and the lower horn. I think it looks pretty spectacular. I think stone veneer is definitely a really cool alternative to other type of veneers, especially wood. I mentioned in my last video for the MIDI guitar that wood veneers have no impact on tone. So if you're going to use a veneer, might as well choose something that's going to be unique and novel and actually kind of turn heads. And that's what this does. It's just remarkable. Now I have a light source to the left because it's really the shadows that really kind of make the texture pop. I also added my logo to the neck pocket. So this is just my brand Who Wants Honey with my labyrinth triangle logo. Great place to put it, I think, because the neck is going to go there anyway and it won't be visible unless you really want to see it. So the back looks fabulous. I don't know what this wood is. I'm going to have to write to my lumber people and ask them what it is. This is nothing I've ever heard of, so it's not like a tiger wood. It's not a zebra wood either. It's something I've never heard of, and it looks really good. So there were some wormholes exposed when I did the contour cutout. I'm calling them wormholes. I don't know what they really are. I did fill them with black super glue, and there was a couple here as well. So the other thing is it also revealed some crevices when the contour passed to the back. This is the back of the body. And I filled those with black super glue too. And the black super glue looks pretty amazing because the grain pattern in here is also a very dark, dark black along the end grain. It's a little bit browner here, but along the end grain it's very black. This guitar takes all Fender hardware. So these ferrules are for Fender branded string-through ferrules. Obviously Fender necks will fit in the pocket with the screw holes already there and will be perfectly aligned. And this is set up to 50s specs. So these depths for the pickups are 50s spec. So you can't put like a modern stacked single coil in this bridge. It just wouldn't fit. This is for 50 spec shallow pickups. So I think stone tops are pretty killer. This one in particular is very unique and very cool. It is a heavy beast. I'll weigh it and put it in the description on the store, but I mean, it's gotta be over 5-6 pounds. It's heavy. Now, as far as finishing is concerned, if you eventually want to sand this, you could. I mean, you could literally just put a neck on here and just start playing. But if you wanted to get it to be perfect, like getting all the machining marks out, then you just go through the grits, sand, and then just put whatever kind of finish you want in the back. But I don't recommend putting a finish on the stone. And believe me, when you put any type of finish on here, it just looks like wet rock. So if you ever like hose down your driveway and you have that kind of like muddy gray color, that's what this looks like when you put finish. And I've tried all the finishes. Tung oil, I tried true oil, I tried waxes, I tried nitro. So I don't think you're gonna get any different results with any type of clear coat, maybe a clear lacquer, but honestly, if you wet it, it's just gonna look like a wet rock. And I think the real benefit of these stone tops is that it's natural. You're touching stone. It feels like stone. It feels like chalky, like stone. So it's got a texture to it that's not only a visible texture, but something that you feel. It's tactile. That's also making this different because we're so used to the feel of wood, right? That kind of warm wood. And then to have like a cold stone, that type of like juxtaposition is really interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Take it easy.